What's going on? Welcome to day 3 of my life. So they always say where to start at the beginning. So man, I had a late night at work last night. Uh, so when I finished working yesterday, I came home and I fell straight asleep. But I woke up at 2 in the morning for some reason and couldn't go back to sleep. And actually, didn't go back to sleep till about 6 this morning. No, maybe about 4:30. I went back to sleep. But I couldn't. So I was tired. I definitely wasn't happening with me getting up and making it to the gym this morning. So I decided that I'm just going to take today as my off day and I'll work out all through the weekend. And I ain't going to lie to y'all. My challenge is starting with a little bit of, it's not rolling as smooth, right? I always envisioned when I started this, everything was going to be smooth. I was going to be knocking it out. I feel like I'm kind of stumbling through these first couple of days because, for one, I'm getting busier at work, and that's not a hindrance. That's what I want to be. For me in my life, I've been in a role similar to this one before where it was so much stuff going on, and I literally felt overwhelmed. But with this new job that I have, it's so much, it's a lot of different things going on, a lot of things pulling you in multiple directions. But I think I'm learning that it does feel overwhelming when I keep it in my head. But when I actually sit down and do and get those things out of my head and start making action behind them, then that stress level decreases. I'm in a position at work where we're trying to do something new, really. And when you do something new, it's a lot of change that impacts people. There's always the risk of whatever you're doing not working. But for me, I'm relying on my faith in this thing. I feel like the way, you know what, maybe I can dedicate this update for day 3 to how the Lord blessed me with this position. And in my opinion, it is truly a miracle, right? So the story begins. I was out of work. I got laid off from my last job. Not laid off, but my contract was almost over. And when my contract ended, I was doing Spark grocery deliveries and looking for a job. I know I applied for, I'm going to say over 60, 70 jobs, probably more than that. And I was drawing unemployment too. So I was doing Spark and applying for jobs. And I didn't, man, I think I had one interview that a friend hooked me up for. It was an HR interview, which I have no HR experience, but they put in a word and they actually got me an interview. But I knew when we started talking that I wasn't going to get that role. Then it was another knock position that I applied for as a knock engineer. And I had not been in an engineer role specifically in quite a long time. I've always been a manager. Well, not always, but for a long time, I've been a manager. And I couldn't answer some of the basic telecom questions that the guy asked me. I think he asked me about what's a T1 and what's the data rate for STS or something like that. But anyway, so I didn't look at it bad. I just looked at it like whatever. But with that being said, I wasn't getting a lot of hits on my resume to the fact that I even started looking at, I tried working at FedEx, and let me make sure my mic is on because I've been talking before. My mic not been on. But I tried working at FedEx, probably did it for about 2, 3 weeks. But man, working on that loading dock at FedEx will beat you down. It's a lot on your body. And I may not look as old, but I'm 47. I was popping Advil and Motrin every time I went in there. I thought it would have been good though as a way to get exercise and lose weight. But man, that work was tough. So one day I was there and I was working, and I don't know, had a feeling come over me that was like, yo, this ain't what you want to do. This ain't what I want to do. This ain't how I feel like I need to be working. And literally, I didn't go in with that attitude, but while I was there during that particular shift, I was just like, this is it for me. And kid you not, I would have walked out if it hadn't been for this guy I met there called E. We started at the same time. We were on the same trucks at a lot of the times. And I didn't want to leave him in the middle of the shift, but I was going to get my stuff and go that night. Even though I needed the money, even though they paid good, it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I think I was making decent with Spark. So anyway, I hope I ain't losing y'all because I always feel like I'm all over the place. So anyway, as we're at the same time, we're preparing to move out of our house. Our lease is up. We're going to move into an apartment. All of my family is moving out, and it's just going to be me and my wife and my youngest daughter who's in college, so she ain't here most of the time. So I remember I was in the garage cleaning, and I got a text on my phone number, and the text had read, "Hey, bro, you still looking for a gig?" Maybe that was his wording, and I was like, I looked at it, and I thought it was spam because, as you know, when you on LinkedIn, it could be spam. People spam you with everything, right? So I was like, man, I ain't gonna worry about it. Put the phone back in my pocket, finished cleaning up the stuff that I was doing in the garage, and then started delivering groceries. So I think the next day while I was driving, I looked back at the message and I was like, man, it won't hurt to respond. Something in me was like, man, it won't hurt to respond. So I said, I'm still in the market. And then he was like, well, I know of a position. Can you give me a call? And I'm still in my head, a part of me still thinking, this is spam. So anyway, I picked up the number and we were talking for a minute, and it took me a second to catch the voice. But it was a guy I had worked with back in my Verizon days. Him hadn't talked in over a year, and I don't think even our last conversation wasn't about me looking for a job or anything. So we were talking once I caught his voice. I was like, hey, I don't think I let him know that I didn't know it was him. But so we talking. He was like, man, I interviewed for this position. I don't think I'm going to take it. I gave him your name as a reference. I said, I know somebody who'll be good for what y'all are trying to do. And if it's okay with you, send me your resume and I'll get it over to him. And I was like, all right, man, as soon as I get home, like I said, I was delivering groceries. As soon as I get home, I'll send you the resume. But I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking much about it. I wasn't thinking that it was going to lead to something because most of the time they may ask you for recommendations, but they won't actually reach out and call. So I'm going to pause right there at that point because I was going through a change in my life at that moment, right? Here we are. I've always been able to take care of my additional family. Everybody who's connected to me always been the biggest breadwinner. But over the last couple of years, and ever since I left Verizon, I've been feeling like I'm going on a down slope. I had the big old house, and every house I've had subsequently has gotten smaller. And this wasn't by choice, so that's why I say my life was just going on a downhill, right? I had a car get repossessed. The car that I'm driving now, my whole family, kids, mother-in-law, all wrecked it. So it's missing the back bumper. All these things were adding up on me. And now I was about to be back in an apartment, and I didn't think I was ever going to be back in an apartment. But at that time, Christ was doing something in me because I wasn't depressed about my situation. I was actually looking at my situation as a new start to my life, right? We were going to get rid of everything we had in the house and literally start over. And although I did need a job and I was looking for a job, and I still had all those other things that were coming up on me, like my daughter's second year of school, all of those things, I didn't have a fear about it. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know how I thought I was going to get it accomplished, but I had a confidence that could have only been from the Lord. I didn't have fear, and I was excited about what life was going to present to me. So, anyway, I guess I should say that I was looking for a job, but I wasn't stressing it. I was just doing whatever it was that I could do. The Lord had already shown me that He was making a way in my life, and I was just trusting in Him. So anyway, back to the story. So I sent him my resume, and maybe about a week later, I get a phone call, and it's from the company, and they like, we got your resume from such and such, and I'm listening, and they were like, so I just wanted to do a quick phone interview with you, see if you're a good fit. And as I'm talking to her, she's telling me more about the job and about the benefits. And I ain't gonna lie about the pay. I was like, I just got more and more excited about the opportunity. I was like, I'm interested. I'm definitely. And I think I had to, I think my homeboy Rob had asked me, how much are you looking for? And I kid y'all not, I said almost half of what they were offering for the position that I took. And I said, I wanted half of that. That I had came way down of what my expectation was. And the reason for that was I didn't need as much to live as I once needed to live. So as you start removing things out your life, you can see you could do a lot more with less. So everything they told me about the job was just outstanding. I was so excited, man. And I made it past that interview. Then I made it past another interview. And then when I started digging into the company, I don't want to share with the way social media is where I work at, but I was actually looking at a product that my company offered and always wanted to experience it. I didn't know I was going to experience it from the point of view that I am now. So it was always kind of a dream of mine to be a part of this company, but not in the same capacity that I am now, more as a customer of the company. But anyway, I go through about 3 rounds of interviews. And every time in the interview portion, I'm praying. I'm asking, Lord, give me favor. Lord, give me wisdom. This job would change so much. This would make everything happen faster than I thought. Bless me with it. And I get to the final and fourth interview with the VP of the company. Come to find out, this man used to work with my sister in law, and he had a good rapport with my sister-in-law and had spoke very highly of her. So during my last interview, it was all about, oh, he was like, her about. So we did a lot of talking and wasn't anything technical, anything to do with my resume. I think the only thing he asked me was if I could drive to work. If I didn't mind, it's an in the office job. Although I'm working from home right now, that was only till we got office space, and we do now. So I'll be moving to the office here shortly. And man, that just shows you to say, I shared that story to say that God's favor, His grace, His mercy put me in another position that I didn't know about, that I didn't deserve, opened these doors for me. That gives me the trust to know that whatever I face in this job, no matter how stressful it is, no matter how chaotic it is, that He's got my back. He's got my job, my back in this job, and He's got my back outside of this job. And every day I go to work, I try to remember that I'm not working for people. I'm working for Him. I'm working out of the gratitude I have for the position. And truly and honestly, it ain't always been that way in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've been just like everybody else, shit, just happy to get a paycheck, happy to show up, trying to do the least amount, not get noticed, don't rock the boat too much. And now I ain't worried about none of that. I want to jump out there. I want to do things. I want to try things. I want to lead things. And I'll give you an example. I was hosting a conference call yesterday, and I felt nervous while I was hosting, and I was choking up on my words a little bit, to me, at least internally. And I was telling my wife, you know what? I think you always feel a little nervous, but I don't want to feel that nervous. And I think the only way to overcome that is by if I host more often, if that makes sense, right? If I do it more often. So I'm going to try to volunteer for those opportunities as they come up. But I don't want to overstep some of my peers. I have multiple other managers that I work with, and I don't want to try to take their shine by me trying to walk on water at the job. But I'm way over on my time. Hopefully, once I edit this down and get some of my stutters out of there. But this is the end of day 3. My diet, I haven't really technically started my diet yet. And I didn't work out today. And my budget ain't where I want it to be. But I got faith and we're going to keep it going because this was one thing I said I was going to do. And I was going to keep this thing moving regardless. I'm going to do 75 days of recording my life and seeing the change and the growth as I take over, as I begin to reign as king in my own life, reign as king over everything that has ever held me down, not in my own strength, but in the strength that God gave me. So I'm ready to take dominion. When I look at my bills, I see opportunity. I know that whatever it says now is going to be greater later. When I look at my weight and my health, I know that I'm preparing the temple. When I look at my job, I know that it's an assignment that's been prepared for me. When I look at my relationship with God, it's just like developing a relationship with a girl that you're interested in. There ain't no right amount of time or how you spend time. It's just about staying connected to them. You want to text them, you want to talk to them, you want to be close to them. And my God is no different. As a matter of fact, he's closer than a woman would be because he's on the inside of me. But again, I know I'm way over. This is the end of day 3. We're going to hit day 4 with a bang and keep this thing moving. I'm out.